Hey guys, how's it going? Hope everyone is staying strong. Today I bring you a story where my friend plans a vacation trip to Spain with his girlfriend. He's none other than Sijil. You might be familiar with him from a previous video where he travels to Czech Republic for higher studies and things went downhill from the moment he arrived there. If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link in this video, go check it out. So, coming back to the story, they have been waiting for this moment for a long time and finally it's time to travel to Spain. So the original plan was to visit the regions Sevilla, Cordoba, Granada, Marbella and Malaga. Marbella was cancelled from the list even before boarding the flight since it's a place where rich dudes splash their money on drinks and gambling and often visit the beaches. Visiting Sevilla was also a big doubt since there is a lot to see and they'd have to spend at least 2 days to cover some of it. Some of the main attractions are the tomb of Christopher Columbus and world's third largest cathedral. So if they could see most of Sevilla in a day, then covering the rest of the regions would be a piece of cake since comparatively other regions offer very less. But you know, nothing goes as planned in our stories. And on that note, if you have some interesting stories to tell, do contact me. We can feature that on my channel. So they took a flight from Vienna to Malaga. The entire trip was planned to be around a week. But you know, the flight had to land in Barcelona due to a technical issue and they had to wait for an hour until the bus arrived to take them to the airport where all the passengers, 200 of them, were left without any instructions and directions. So our friends went to the information center to get some information on the situation, but only to get informed that the information center has no information on the situation. Eventually, they got some information out of them, which is to go to gate U. When they arrived at gate U, there were like 15 counters. After some time, they were told to go to counter 1 and 2, but the situation was exactly the same. The personnel at the counters didn't know what to do and haven't received any information. While all this is happening, there are a few things going on in the background. Like each hour, a representative pops up and tells them that the flight is going to be ready in a few moments' time, and then they disappear. This kept on happening for about 3 hours and finally they said the flight is grounded. So now the staff came up with an ingenious idea of booking a train for 200 people. So they tried to book a train, then they tried again. All the while the number of passengers from the aircraft dwindled down to just 50. Many of them had to reach Malaga that day itself, so they took a train or a bus or whatever they could, even though it was very expensive. And for that same reason, our couple had to stay back and be among the last 50 people. Things were not progressing, and after 9 hours of being stranded in the airport, people got frustrated and started yelling. And that's when the airlines decided to book 2 buses for the passengers to a hotel in Girona for a temporary accommodation. It was a 5-star hotel. They provided free dinner and breakfast. The food there was pretty good. The next day they reached their final destination, a hotel in Malaga. It was about 9 at night, and our friends have already lost 2 days from the scheduled trip. So visiting Sevilla was cancelled from the plan. That means that initial 5 destinations have been reduced to 3 now. So that night they wanted to do something so that they don't feel like the day has been wasted. They headed out and had some tapas, a Spanish snack, which he said was fantabulous. Then they walked around for a while, which brought him some nostalgic feeling of the old Doha. Next day, they headed out to the city center of Malaga. So Malaga is known to be one of the oldest cities in Europe to be inhabited. It is said that people started living there around 770 BC. And also it is the birth city of Picasso. You can find his house and museum there. It was really a day well spent in Malaga. They went to a beach, visited Alcazaba fort, Roman theater and so on. On top of that, it was Sunday, so every attraction was free to see. Later that night they returned to their hotel and all was good. Then the next day they arrived at the train station hoping to catch a train to Cordoba. Initially they couldn't find where the ticketing counter was, but then they stumbled upon a ticketing machine, which didn't do any good either because a one-way ticket to Cordoba for a person was 63 euros. 63 €. So they decided to look for an alternative way and found a carpooling app called BlaBlaCar. So they tried booking on it, but they got rejected by 2 drivers that day. So they decided to see places nearby and try visiting Cordoba the next day. Fortunately, a driver accepted their carpooling trip for the coming day. The next day, the driver took them to Cordoba in just 40 minutes. And they were wondering why the train tickets were that expensive for such a short trip. The first attraction that they visited in Cordoba was the Mosque Cathedral. It was mesmerizing. He instantly fell in love with it. One side of the structure had Christian architecture and the other side featured Muslim architecture. He mentioned that it symbolized the way of how people lived in Cordoba. It is a time capsule of when Christians, Muslims, Jews, and Romans lived in harmony. After visiting the Mosque Cathedral and Roman ruins, they couldn't visit any other attractions since all of the attractions opens at 12 noon and closes at 3 in the afternoon. On top of not being able to see rest of the attractions, their BlaBlaCar driver back to Malaga cancelled their booking. So now they don't have a transfer back to their hotel. As you know, the train is super expensive, so they were looking for alternatives once again and found a bus ticket which was expensive than the car but cheaper than the train. So they booked that and headed back to their room. The atmosphere back at the hotel was gloomy because this is not how he planned things. Firstly, the public transport was super expensive, and on top of that, all attractions closes at 3, which made visiting many sites almost impossible. And to make things worse, they went over their budget, which meant that they had to cancel their trip to Alhambra, one of the popular attractions in Spain. In summary, they had to cancel Sevilla due to the delay caused by the airlines. Marbella wasn't worth spending their time and money. They couldn't go to Granada and visit Alhambra, and everything in Cordoba closed at 3, making it difficult to visit attractions. So naturally, my dude is really frustrated and in a really bad mood at the end of the day. But eventually, contemplating on what actually happened in the trip, he realized that the trip was not all that bad. His partner was happy during the trip. They visited some places and had local cuisine, and they forged some amazing memories. So that's the end of our story, guys. Do smash that like button, please. If you have some interesting stories, do share it with me. I'll feature it in my channel. My email is themostag@gmail.com and my Instagram is mo_tmac. Do follow me there. I'll be posting updates and drawings over there. You can find the links in the description. Enjoy the videos, guys. Bye. Peace, love, and take care. They don't feel like the day has been wasted. They headed out to... And later that night, they returned to their hotel and all was good. All was good. Then the next day, they arrived at the So they decided to look for an alternative way and found a carpooling app called blah 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 blah. Fortunately, a driver accepted their carpool. One side of the structure had Christian architecture. One side of the